Hello out there, wrestling fans. Welcome to episode 49, I believe it's 49, of WWPWW, the Worldwide Wrestling Podcast of Worldwide Wrestling. I'm Caleb DeJarnette, the man with the AJ Styles hair. And of course, with me, always, is the amazing Jim Neidhart beard-having Jeremy Robinson.
What's up, y'all?
As we all know, Ric Flair is going through some problems and complications with surgery, and so everybody send the Nature Boy your thoughts, your prayers, your well wishes, everything. I'm sure Charlotte and Ric's wife, fiance, girlfriend, whatever, and all of his. I'm sure everybody would, really. I'm sure everybody really appreciates all the support stuff everybody's been showing him. Like everybody on Twitter and Facebook and stuff has been reaching out, so that's really cool to see. Yep. Everybody rally around Rick.
Agreed. Oh, excuse me, sorry. Long night. But absolutely, the wrestling community and wrestling fans have been very supportive, at least on Twitter. Both Raw and SmackDown gave a shout out to Rick. He isn't out of the woods yet. He had surgery on his colon, and so we'll see what happens in the coming days. Our thoughts and prayers are with you, Rick.
Indeed. Well, folks, all right, Marks and Marquettes. That's what I'm going to call female Marks, Marquettes. I think that's funny. It's not that funny. Marquette is a university in Wisconsin. We got a special episode for you. It is the SummerSlam preview show. Of course, we do our weekly recaps of the go-home shows for Raw and the SmackDown Live, and I don't know why I always like saying Raw and the SmackDown. I don't know why I don't know why I enjoy saying that. It's just funny. And then we'll do our predictions for NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 3, The Search for Spock, and of course for SummerSlam 2017, which next year will be at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn yet again.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean
SummerSlam's home is New York, is Brooklyn. So.
It seems like it. I think that the first SummerSlam was at the Garden, if I'm mistaken. I think it might have been. So, which is weird that they don't really go to the Garden anymore.
I know.
Like, it seats just as many, if not slightly more people than the Barclays Center. Like, I don't know if since the Garden is like downtown, if there's like lots of problem with that or what the deal is exactly. I just thought that was kind of weird. I even Googled to see if maybe I went up on Wikipedia to see if the Barclays Center was bigger. And it's not. The Madison Square Garden is actually slightly bigger, like 1,000 more people or something. Not much, but for events like that. So, but yeah, I mean, because like for several years they had it out in at the Staples Center in LA. They had it there for like a few years in a row, and then I think 2014, was the first year they had it at the Barclay in Brooklyn, and then every year since then they've just had it there. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. That was just a total waste of a minute and a half. And then, of course, we haven't done any lists for a while, so we are going to do our top 5 most hated wrestlers. Because we did a top 10 favorite wrestlers of all time, back, I think, like last August or last September. It was a while ago.
Last summer sometime.
So top 5 most hated wrestlers, just because I think top 10, for me, it would have been hard to think of that many wrestlers that I really, really hate, because there's the 5 that I have, I'm just like, ugh, yeah, it'd be hard to find 5 more guys that I hate as much as those. So.
Yep.
That'll be a lot of fun, because it's fun to express, because I feel like sometimes we're way too positive, and we're like way too like, hey, I liked it, hey, I liked it, hey, I like this, hey, I like that on here, just because we're both easy guys to please. We both enjoy what we enjoy, stuff. So it's kind of good to bring some negativity in here and be critical.
To be actually critical. I mean, I think we're critical where it's deserved to be critical.
Yeah.
And so I think we're fair, personally.
Yeah.
I mean, I know for me, at some point, SmackDown Live seems to be the better show at times. I don't feel like it was that case this week, but we'll get into that. I think we're fair.
I think we are too. It's just funny just because we really like what we like. The stuff that we like, we really like, and we give a lot of praise to. Yep. And we're not afraid to say we like something, instead of some people who I feel are afraid to say that they like some people, like the whole Titus brand thing when that was first coming about. It's growing a lot.
Yeah.
when that was first starting out, excuse me, I burped. I thought it was funny, and I was just like, I'd love to see that go on. And it seemed like some people were just like, I don't know.
I think we're more patient than most because I think you and I both understand that they start something that builds into something else. Now, granted, I with the whole Titus brand thing, I thought it was annoying at first, but now what they build it into, and still we have to be patient and stuff. And what they have built it into and are building it into, you just have to have patience as a wrestling fan because they're going to do something. Either they're going to do something, they have a plan, or they're tired of a wrestler and they stop their push and they think of something else, which that's annoying, and that we should criticize.
Indeed.
Because they should just keep going with the thing. Don't give up on something if one night something bad happens, or if the personality has issues over Twitter, like there is one person on SmackDown Live that is rumored that to have, and on Raw for that matter. So yeah, just you have to have patience. You have to see where things are going, and so I think you and I have that patience. Other wrestling fans don't. They want instant gratification, which I understand. I will be the first to say put the title on Samoa Joe instead of simmer it for a little bit. But we both understand where WWE needs to simmer things. They should simmer things where they should speed things up. They should speed things up. So I think we understand that, and I think that's the reason why we're not too critical of things. I wish I had the ability to look back and be like, oh man, that was stupid. Why'd they even do that? But wrestling is a business where you can't do that.
Yeah.
You have to push forward. You have to deal with the now. You can't look back. Well, they did that 3 weeks ago. You ruin wrestling if you do that.
Yeah.
And so I think we're just better.
Well said. Well said. Amazing. Well, why don't we go ahead and jump right into the nitty gritty?
All right.
Get cracking with the knacking.
To the Raw.
All right. To the Raw. Jeremy, what did you think of this week's Monday Night Raw, the go-home show for SummerSlam 2017?
I don't remember anything I hated.
Yeah.
I thought this was a really, really, really good show. I think the lull in the show, and I don't think it ended up too bad, was the Big Cass and the Big Show stuff. I thought that was... every piece to both shows makes me want to watch SummerSlam. They both of these shows, Raw and SmackDown. As I was thinking about the two shows, I feel like both of them have, in each one of the match, has an ellipsis. They have the ... carrying over to SummerSlam. I want to watch SummerSlam. There was even the matches like Big Cass and Big Show, which I didn't really care for. I want to see what happens now. And there was the Natalya Naomi match. While I think it's going to be a good match, I wasn't too invested into it. But have Carmella come out and be like, oh, blah blah blah, whatever she said. So every one of the aspects of this show, I felt did the best job they could do to make me want to watch SummerSlam. Even the ending of SmackDown Live, which we'll get to. So there wasn't anything on Raw that I was just like, why'd they do that? That was really, really annoying. The high spots, I felt like the first stuff, I'm interested in seeing what's going with Dean and Seth. I want to see where that goes. I want to see if this is a push for Dean to become heel or what. I do know that Sheamus is going to go film a movie, and so I think this is to get the belts off of him so he can go film the movie for a bit. I don't really know for sure, but that's my assumption. Is I think Dean and Seth will be champions, but that's coming later. Even the Nia Jax Sasha Banks match, I actually want to see a program between those two. And if Sasha wins, I feel like that's the next progression. Yeah. Is Nia Sasha.
Because like they did have that short program earlier in the year, but it was just like a filler feud kind of thing. Like they had like 2 matches.
But this match, even though it was short, it had a lot of good stuff in it.
It did. I really enjoyed it too.
I was really, really impressed with that.
I loved Alexa Bliss's throne, quote unquote. It was a lifeguard stand, spray painted silver. Like I'm just like, oh hey, that takes me back to summer camp. Like that's the lifeguard stand from Camp Mac, just spray painted silver. Like, and her legs were hanging off. She looked like a little kid. It was so funny. That made me laugh. And then, of course, I was just like, that's a lifeguard stand spray painted silver.
That's exactly what it is.
I've been waiting to say that for like a day and a half just because I got such a big kick out of it.
That's funny.
Anyways.
So, yeah, I thought everything, there was nothing I hated. Maybe the Jason Jordan stuff I didn't really care for. I'm sad. I think mostly that's because I'm sad that American Alpha was broken up.
Yeah.
I think that's stupid. I think they need to rectify that. That's me. I don't really care about that storyline with Jason, Jordan, and The Miz. The match was short. It didn't need to happen, but it did. But everything else was great. The last segment was amazing.
Yeah.
Like I said, every ounce of both of these shows makes me want to watch every one of those matches. Especially the last segment with Braun and Brock just wanting to go at each other. We haven't seen that yet.
Mm-hmm.
And so to have the other two knocked out and have these two like being held apart by first jobbers, then NXT talent or local talent, whatever.
Yeah.
And then have the locker room come out and hold them back and not being able to. That was a brilliant scene. So as far as Raw overall, it was a great show. Great show. Every bit of it I enjoyed. Those were just my highlights. What about you? What did you think about it?
I really enjoyed it too. I thought it was a super strong outing as a go home show. I thought because it got me pumped up for every single match that's gonna happen for the Raw side. Yeah, I'm just really pumped. I'm really pumped to figure out what to see what they're gonna do with Ambrose and Rollins. Interested to see what's going on with that, and because they're facing the Miztourage, right?
Who?
No, they're fighting. They're facing Shane and Cesaro.
For the tag team championship.
Yeah, I'm
it's all good.
getting a lot of stuff mixed together for some reason. And yeah, like it got me excited and pumped for pretty much everything from the Raw side. I'm really excited to see what's gonna happen, especially like we talked about last week and stuff. The main event, like that's the Universal Championship Fatal 4. That looks like it's gonna be awesome, and it was an awesome ending. Like Samoa Joe, like Heyman does what he does best. Then Samoa Joe came out, and that was awesome. I love that dynamic him and Brock have of like they're both bad guys, but they just hate each other so much. Like that was really cool. And then Braun came out. Love how he's just sitting there, come on, Spirit Stanley, and Samoa Joe's like, what? Okay, yeah, you're the guy who stood up because I took Roman Reigns out, and then like Roman just comes out and then just doesn't say anything, just beelines to the ring, and then just spears Samoa Joe. Like I thought that was a cool, way to just kind of make just like so many awesome things that can come from this Fatal 4-Way.
Yep.
Any combination, of a feud between these four guys will be awesome.
Yep, agreed.
And like we both said, we love the whole Roman Reigns Braun Strowman thing. Like those guys just put on epic shows, and so yeah, like that was a great note to end on. And then Brock Lesnar loves sweaty man orgies or whatever. Like, did you see that?
I don't think I did.
It was the WTF Raws.
Oh no, I didn't see that one.
And he's it was the WTF moments from Raw, and he's just like Brock Lesnar like sweaty man orgies.
Oh, no.
It was funny. So yeah, that was cool. Just like have everybody just kind of separating them and stuff, and they're both just trying so hard, and then they finally, annihilate everyone, and they're just like, it was just so cool, all that stuff, and everything that with Finn and Bray, I like, I love what they're doing with that. I like what they did, like the Bray Wyatt one, clean as a whistle. Like I was just like, wow, that's pretty, that's pretty cool, to. Because like I'm glad that they did that. They give him a good, credible win over Brett, over Finn Balor. Because I'm sure Finn is gonna win because everybody loves Finn Balor. And
everybody loves Demon King Finn.
Yeah.
So that's who we're gonna get.
I know.
On Sunday, which is gonna be awesome.
I can't wait. Like, and I loved where he just walks out covered in the blood. Or like it was so funny. Yeah. He had the bucket, and I was like, is he gonna pull a carry? And then he just dumped the bucket of paint, blood, whatever it's supposed to be, on him and stuff. I thought that was just like, they did a carry. Like, that's funny. And then he's just like yeah, if he said the thing like Bray Wyatt's got a lot of demons. He's like, well, I have one of my own, and then walks away. I was like, oh, like when he said that, like the whole stadium just popped. Like, so yeah, I'm super excited for SummerSlam. Also, nothing let me down on Raw except for the cruiserweight.
That let you down?
Just because just because I don't get it. Like I'm just like, I like Tozawa a lot. And I like that he's with the Titus brand. I think that's so cool. But I don't know, like on an episode of Raw to have Neville, who people really like and who just was a shot in the arm for the cruiserweight division, which was pretty stagnant. Like just to end his reign, just on an episode of Raw like that, when he's just been so dominant and awesome. Like it was just it was puzzling. I guess I won't say I hated it because it's just very, very puzzling and concerning.
And I think that's the point, is because like I keep saying, every one of these things ended in a way. It's like wait, I want to watch this. I want to see how Neville responds to this. Is Neville just going to go walk in and just destroy Tozawa to get his championship back? Because his stuff on Twitter has been really, really funny. I don't know if you've seen it. He did one post. It was just no. It was just capital letter N-O. And then he kept responding to it. No, 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 no. And so he's just like, he's eating himself up inside. I can see him coming in, and I can see this being a squash match.
Really?
I can see him coming in and just destroying Tozawa, taking back. I don't think it hurts. It definitely doesn't. For me, it doesn't hurt the cruiserweight title because
I don't think it does. I don't think it does. I don't think it does either.
He's had it for 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
One little thing, hiccup or whatever in his game plan isn't gonna hurt him. I think it's gonna help him go in and just destroy Tozawa and take it back and just like, I'm the king of cruiserweights, how dare you? And then they'll put Tozawa to the side, or not to the side, but he'll be back with Titus Brandon and they'll go on. And I think they needed an end to that Tozawa wanting a championship title match. Move on to something else, and so that at least ends that kind of thing that they're doing. But it was shocking.
It was
and that's the point.
I was only kind of half paying attention to the match.
Yep.
I got on my phone and was writing down the list of my top 5 hated wrestlers, which we're going to be doing later. I was kind of thinking about that and writing it down, and then all of a sudden I hear Cole just pop it, and he was just like, wow, we have a new cruiserweight champion. I was just like, what did he just say? And I looked up and I couldn't believe it. Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah, I was sitting here where we tape. I was sitting here and I was looking through my phone and I was like, huh? What? And then I showed Ryan and he was like, huh? And so, yeah, it was a shock when I first heard it because I thought that he would just go on forever. I mean, it has been 6 months, has been half a year.
Mm-hmm.
I could see this being.
Yeah, because he won it at the Rumble, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a while ago. The one thing about that match that I will say is I haven't really watched 205 Live in a long time, and so I haven't seen Tozawa's senton. That's a sick,
yeah,
sick senton. Like all
talk
of
about
his
whiplash.
Weight, yeah, all of his weight just landing. I mean, he's a small dude, obviously, but all of his weight landing on Neville. I was just like, to win something with that's great. The only issue I really have with that match is, did they protect the Red Arrow, or did they make the Red Arrow no longer indefensible? You know what I mean?
Yeah, because he moved out of the way and Neville just crashed.
Yeah. He didn't kick out, but he did move out of the way, and so it's one of those things. It's like, is it still protected? Sorta, I guess. But I mean, because like I said, he didn't get pinned and get kick out, so it's kind of still protected.
Mm-hmm.
That if you get hit with it, it's kind of like the Ember Moon's finisher.
Yeah.
When you get hit with it, you're done.
You're done. Yeah.
But if you don't get hit with it, then obviously you're not. So anyway, that was the only struggle I had with that. I am interested again. Every one of the things that happened on Raw and SmackDown were just like, how is that going to be handled on SummerSlam?
Mm-hmm.
And for me, this was the best go-home show so far. Like, both SmackDown and Raw of any pay-per-view, this is the best 2 go-home shows for me.
I think I'd agree with that. Yeah, totally. I think, I had a pretty cool thought last night. I was thinking, like, man, like, I kind of talked about, like, I think it'd be neat to have Neville, just continue to be dominant for a long time, and then next year at WrestleMania, leading up to WrestleMania, have him and Enzo, because move Enzo to the cruiserweight division and stuff like that, because he's only 200.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, that'd be kind of neat to see, and then see him be this kind of Rocky type underdog, who dethrones the big cocky bad guy. I thought that'd be really interesting to see. I think people would totally be into that. The fans anyway, not people backstage, because as we know, Enzo has nuclear heat backstage.
Yep.
But I was thinking, like, man, who else could? And then I had an epiphany to who would be an awesome challenger, and what would be awesome to see that would put more eyes on the cruiserweight division. Finn Balor is 190 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
Finn Balor versus Neville for the cruiserweight title, that as a feud, I would totally love.
Sure.
I would love to see them do that sometime in the near future, because it sounds like they do want to put the Universal title back on Finn, but just not anytime soon. Yeah. And he does deserve to have a good reign, since Seth Rollins injured him and he only got to have it for one day. He does, but I think I think that could be a good stepping stone to going back to the Universal title, is having him, get another title under his belt, get another title reign on the old CV, give him the cruiserweight title, and have him and Neville feud, and I think that would be sick. So I think that'd be really, really cool to do. But Monday Night Raw was pretty spectacular. Really good go home show, like 3 hours long, but it kind of flew by, and there wasn't much wrong with it. The tag team match, the Hardys and Jason Jordan versus they faced the Mr. Raj. When Jeff Hardy did the poetry in motion and then landed on Bo and then just turned that into a pin combo, like, that was just like perfect. Like, it looked like it was kind of like a happy accident. Like, it didn't but it worked out so perfectly. Like, instead of, Jeff just low and then just was sitting on his chest, and then he's just like this, to the ref to like, hey, count and stuff like that. That was awesome. Like, the way that turned out and stuff. And that match I enjoyed. Like, that was a pretty decent one, for sure. So, anything else on Monday Night Raw?
No. I think for me it was a really, really good show, solid show. Again, I will say it again. I only watched the hour and a half Hulu version, so I don't know what else was on. I know there was an issue with something with Emma. I don't know, a match or something.
Yeah, her and Mickey James had a match. It was a decent match.
And so I don't know where they're going with her character. I hope they do something with her, because again, I'm a big Emma fan. I think she's one of the most talented wrestlers, especially on the Raw side of things. The other thing I want to mention about Raw and the women's division is, if you haven't had a chance to listen to Chris Jericho's podcast with Nia Jax, do.
It was really good.
It made me like her a little bit more. Like, I didn't hate her, but it made me like her as a person a little bit more. So
I loved the part in that when Jericho was talking, like, she's just like, oh yeah, I'm related to the Rock. He's like, shh, no, you're not. All Samoans say that. She's like, no, I am. He's like, show me the lineage, and like, he was just like, I had a couple drinks in me, and she's just like, oh, it's okay, like, I knew you, just like, because everybody says they're related to the Rock, and because like the Rock even made a joke about, like, when somebody was like, oh, are you cousins with the Usos and Roman Reigns? He's like, yeah, we're Samoan, we're all related, or something like that. And he's just like, so show me the lineage, and he's like, so you just got a pen and a napkin and actually traced out the lineage. And I was like, oh wow, she is related to the Rock. Like, that whole thing was funny, and yeah, 100% agree with you. Totally listen to that one.
And you guys should listen to his stuff, especially when wrestlers come on. It does make them human, which we all as wrestling fans need to understand. Is these guys are actors portraying a character on screen, and so don't be jerks to people. Don't be jerks to these people who entertain you week in and week out when you see them in public, and don't be grabbing. I know that happens. I know Roman said that he had his gonads and stuff before, and apparently this past week, Alexa Bliss had her backside tapped. Yeah. I don't know if you've seen that video.
I did.
That video is hilarious. It's hilarious because
Nia's
she
reaction.
reacts, and then she turns back around, and her reaction towards the camera was really, really funny.
Because
Oh,
Nia
what
was
just
holding her,
Yeah.
you know, and like because the kid's like trying to high five Nia, and then he just like whatever, and then just and this kid looks like he's like 12, like 13 maybe, like, and like he's just like, you know, was like trying to high five Nia, and he just couldn't, so he just like smacked the legs, and you just see Nia just go like, oh,
like, did that just happen?
like, you know, just like trying, like it's one of those things where it's like, whoa, that totally just happened, but also just like that was funny, like, and you just hear Alexa like, did he just smack my? That was hilarious. Like you hear her say that like right at the end, like you hear Alexa say that right at the end of the video. It's funny.
Yeah, and so, anyway, with that being said, that interview, like I said, listen, except for sorry, I'm not going to say it. Bo Dallas is crazy. I'm just going to say that. You know,
that was a very interesting podcast.
It was an interesting.
It was very fascinating.
Yeah, if you want to listen to something, I wouldn't say he's crazy. If you want to listen to something that is fascinating and interesting, listen to that podcast because it.
I wouldn't say he's crazy. He seems incredibly gullible.
Yeah.
Easily swayed.
That's a better word. Those are better words for it. He is easily swayed. Like if there's an ounce of truth in anything, he will believe it.
Mm-hmm. It seemed very much like that. Yeah.
And so, but that that was interesting. And anyway, that's just a plug for Jericho's podcast. It's a really good podcast. Probably the best wrestling podcast that I've listened to as of late. Stone Cold has a really good one too, but sometimes it depends on the guests and how much he knows about the guests too. Anyway, that's a little shout out to Chris Jericho.
Yes, exactly. Sure. We love you, Chris Jericho. Thanks for the podcast. It's fantastic. And so, Jeremy, go home show for Monday Night Raw. Letter grade. What would you give this on a scale of A+ to F-?
Yeah, F-.
Yeah.
I thought this show passed with flying colors. I'd give it a solid A. They did everything. Like I said, there wasn't anything that I really was like, oh, why'd they do that? Or that's really annoying. Or it did what it needed to do. It needed to want us to watch SummerSlam, and that's exactly what it did. And so because of that, I give you an A raw. What about you, Caleb?
I would give it an A-, but because of the way it ended, I'm going to go up and give it an A also. Solid A, not an A+, not like this big epic crescendo to where you're like, dude, sweet. But I did go nice. Like I was like super pumped. So, you know, an A-, but the end just completely made it even better. So solid A for the go home show.
A+ for the ending.
Yeah, the ending gets a complete A+, which brings the whole show up to an A.
And honestly, that whole feud is an A+. Like all four of those guys intermingling fused together, and I'm assuming they're going to separate after that.
Yeah.
A+ for that.
Totally. So, all right. So go to SmackDown Live now.
Yeah, SmackDown Live, Caleb. This happened last night. What were your thoughts about the SDL?
The SDL I thought wasn't bad. I enjoyed it. I loved first and foremost the opening. I liked with Jinder and the Indian Independence Day and stuff like that. Even though he's just being patriotic to his ancestral homeland, the crowd being kind of D-bags. It's like, just like, come on, they're singing the Indian national anthem. Just like, I get it, folks. We know wrestling is fake, scripted, whatever you want to call it. But there's certain points to where you need to be like, okay, let's just kind of chill it right now, because this is just like, you know. And then when Shinsuke came out, and yeah, that was great. You know, people just love Shinsuke. Everybody's over the moon for him, and stuff like that. And I love Shinsuke. Like, maybe one of the most charismatic guys I've ever seen, and one of the most charismatic right now in wrestling. Liked that, and so I thought that was good. I loved the backstage thing with Daniel Bryan and the Usos. Yeah. That was hilarious, where he's just like, yeah, I was thinking I could be the third member in your rap group, and then Jimmy is like, yeah, and Jay's just like, no, and they're just like,
they look at each other,
and stuff, and then they like do like the fist bumps, and he grabs their fist and like shakes them and stuff, and they're both just like, like, that whole thing was awesome. Like, that was great. You know, Daniel Bryan's just, he was funny. Like, he was so funny last night. He did a great job, and that was just like that was hilarious, man. And then Jay just turns around, walks away, whatever, and Jimmy's just like, we'll get back to you. Like, I thought that was really funny. I enjoy everything. I'm gonna say it again. I love their remixed theme song with the words added. Yeah, downstairs, down what? Like, it's awesome. It's totally awesome. So yeah, I enjoyed their match against New Day. Like, all these guys work well together. Two of the best tag teams. Right now, man, it was awesome. Gonna cause some problems, but I don't care. I think Usos and New Day are far more interesting and better than the Young Bucks are at this point.
Whoa!
Come at me, Internet. Come at me. Including you, Dave Meltzer. Yeah, calling you out.
Calling you out, Meltzer. That's going to be our calling out moments.
I know. I'm going to call out Dave Meltzer. That's right, Dave. Calling you out. What are you, yellow? I kid. But only part of it. And I enjoyed that. I liked the Rusev Randy Orton thing. That was cool. He just, Randy! And Orton just jumps in with the RKO.
That was beautiful.
That was epic. Gets his revenge for being super kicked last week. That was awesome. I'm really, really interested to see how those guys are going to match up together in a match and how that feud is going to go. I'm really, really interested to see that. Tamina and Lana, that's got me interested a lot.
A little bit, yeah.
That's kind of piqued my interest a lot more with them because at first I was just kind of like, I don't know, I'll just see where it's going. Don't want to be too quick and judgy and just be like, whatever. And then it turns out that it's like some great angle. I'm like, wow, I misjudged that. So I'm just waiting. I'm staving off that. So I'm interested to see where that goes. Enjoyed the match between Becky and Natalya. And that is, everything with that. And then Carmella, like you touched on earlier. Yeah, that looks, I'm really, really interested to see what's going to Carmella, she was looking good last night. And of course, Becky was just Becky Lynch. What can I say? Just drawing a blank right now.
AJ's apology to Shane.
Yeah, that whole thing was great. I love the look on Kevin's face when he accidentally super kicks Shane. I have seen that look on the face of many of my cousins or friends that I know when they do something that they know they shouldn't have. Like, that's like the look of that's like the look on the face of a kid who accidentally broke his dad's fishing pole or something. Just, I don't know. Like, he's just like, and then AJ just started smiling. Yep. And so that was great. So that whole situation is good. So what about you?
Like you always say, everything you said, I would have said the same thing. I think my favorite thing about the whole night was, again, every one of these things makes me want to watch SummerSlam. And the opening, however, it was good. I liked it. I'm glad they were like, it was Indian. I had to look it up. I was like, oh, they just lying to us? No, it's Indian Independence Day, or India's Independence Day. And you're absolutely 100% right. The crowd was obnoxious. This is something that
they were in Providence, so it's like 10 minutes away from Boston. So
like, our country is so divided right now with the stuff going on with the KKK and neo-Nazism right now, just kind of coming back into spotlights. That this issue, it really bothered me when I was watching it, because all that shows, and I understand it goes back to the old school wrestling. You boo the foreigner, you praise the non-foreigner. The problem with this is both of them are foreigner. They're both one's from Canada.
Yeah,
but Indian ancestry, and one's from Japan, and so you can't even claim that in this. You can like a guy and you can dislike a guy. Fine, that's wrestling. But when you come out and the lady is singing India's Independence Day, or their national anthem, and people are booing, you think racism is dead? No, not one bit. That was quite. I don't want to call everybody a racist in the crowd, but it steers that way. It steers that way where you're like, oh man, they should have listened to the lady. I understand patriotism.
And I understand that he's the bad guy.
Yeah, I understand he's the bad guy, but don't be jerks. Boo him, don't boo his country.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what this that is a problem for. So yeah, I mean that's just my 2 cents on that. I wish the universe, WWE universe, would, in those kind of things, be better. But I wish that about all of us.
Exactly. Because they're getting into it and they're booing the bad guy. But when that bad guy in this instant is merely just showing the patriotism for his, the character he's portraying, homeland and his ancestral homeland, kind of take yourself out of it and be like, oh, okay, yes, he is portraying a character. Yes, he is, right now I should just because Anthony Hopkins, the dude played Hannibal Lecter, but if you ran into him on the street, you wouldn't try to arrest him and tell Jodie Foster that you caught him.
Nope, but if that happened.
But if that happened, that'd be funny. So, yeah, I'm sure a lot of it was just them getting caught up in the moment and booing the bad guy. But at the same time, be conscientious of, how something can come off. Yeah. And, like he said, you're just being xenophobic and jingoist, which he's not wrong.
Nope.
Given who our president is, that is not wrong at all. Nope. And so, yeah, all citizens, but in this instance, mainly WWE Universe.
Yeah,
you're getting involved in the product. You're getting involved in the storyline, which is good. Yeah. But you need to be able to take yourself out of it and realize that something can come off or look really, really bad.
Yeah. Don't. Yep.
Because somebody who's not familiar with wrestling or, anything like that, can see that and just be like, wow, they're being racist and they're being awful. That's so terrible. But it's just like, well, I mean, they're just getting into the storyline. He's the bad guy, so they're booing him because he's the bad guy. And so, somebody who knows nothing about wrestling and knows that, because, one of my friends told me that, he knows a girl who, cannot differentiate between UFC and WWE, at all. And my mom has trouble with that. She's just like, UFC, that's fake. I'm like, no, it's not. WWE is fake. Wrestling, pro wrestling, with Hulk Hogan and, The Rock and Stone Cold and all that, that's scripted. UFC is, for real actual cage fighting. So he's just, he was telling me, this girl, it's just, can't differentiate at all between the two. And so it's just yeah, some people who they're not familiar with wouldn't know. It's just dude, he's just playing a character, and they're just booing him because he's the bad guy. So kind of try to be more conscientious of the perception of what you're doing can be.
Yeah, I mean, there is a line there. You can boo him when he talks, fine. Mm-hmm. But again, that was their national anthem, and I'm not patriotic. I'm not a nationalist, if you will. But it was very disrespectful.
It was.
And so imagine all I don't know how many people have the WWE network in India or even watch it in India, but I know it's a growing fad over there, and so it just looks bad. It just looks bad in America. I mean,
it does. Because if they did, if they went to, I think it's been a really long time since they've had a pay-per-view in England. I think it was the '92 SummerSlam was there. I think that was the only one. They had it at Wembley, the big stadium, the big soccer stadium. That's right, I said soccer. I'm just kidding, England. I love you. But no, to us it's soccer. And if they did that again, every so often they'll have one in Canada. I think they usually have 1 or 2 a year in Canada or something like that. Because we're getting almost 2 pay-per-views a month now. Except for the months where there's a big 4, because it's just a co-one. But with if they went to London to back to Wembley Stadium or the O2 Arena or something like that, or they went to somewhere Australia had a big pay-per-view or something like that, and they had Mr. Goody Two Shoes, Superman, America, yeah, do John Cena do something kind of like that where he's talking about being a proud American and sing the national anthem, and then the London crowd or the Australia crowd, whatever, booed him the whole time he was doing it, America would be furious. They would just be over the moon. And then it's just like, well, they're just getting into it. They're just booing him because he's the quote-unquote bad guy in this scenario. And John Cena is a bad guy. Is 50% a bad guy in any stadium he goes to anyway, because they're going to boo him. Yep. 50% is going to boo him. The other 50% is going to love him. So, yeah. If the tables were turned, how would America would just be freaking out. Like, how dare they? How dare they, boo us? Like, we wouldn't do that to any other country. Well, we already did. So,
yeah. So, anyways,
we'll get off our soapbox.
That's enough of that.
We'll get off our soapbox.
The heaviness has left the building.
Yeah.
But as far as that goes, I really liked. I'm sad that Chad Gable's not getting a push right now, but I really liked what that built up.
Mm-hmm.
That built Rusev to be this massive dude that just throws around Gable. I love the throwing him in the stairs and throwing his head against the stairs and then throwing him over the table for the double count out. And then you're right, like that. My favorite part of SmackDown was Randy and then RKO. Like that was the prettiest thing on both shows.
It was awesome.
It was
leading up to SummerSlam last year when he did the surprise RKO on Lesnar.
Yep.
On Raw, like that was awesome.
But I mean, everything else you said, I agree with. Fashion Peaks.
Yeah.
Finale ended. Breezango will return in 25 years or 2 weeks, which that was pretty funny.
That was very funny.
And so I'm interested in see where they go with this. I'm almost to the point where I love seeing these guys every week, but I'm almost to the point where they need to solve the crime right now of who did all this stuff, unless they're waiting, which I'm assuming they're waiting for people from NXT to get called up, so I get it. But I'm almost to the point where it's like, move on to the next case, please. Let's figure this out and go on.
That Talk is Jericho podcast with Breezango.
I haven't listened to it yet. It's on my list.
It's pretty good. It's a really good one. Because they call each other Breeze and Dango.
Do they?
Yeah, during the whole thing, it's pretty good.
Those guys crack me up. Both of those
They're
guys.
amazing.
I think Breeze, I don't know if he still does it, but he had a YouTube channel where I can't even remember what it was called. But he did some really funny things on it, and so the dude's hilarious. Fandango's funny. I've seen a couple of things with him. He's hilarious. These two guys have gotten. I know that in the podcast they said basically that Cena and a couple other guys were like, these guys deserve the push that they're deserving, and help them get where they're at, which is great to hear. And they're filming for another season of what is it called, Southpaw Regional Wrestling. Southpaw Regional Wrestling. Season 2 is coming, so I'm excited.
Cool.
All right, so the ending, the Jinder Mahal versus John Cena. Then Baron Corbin comes in. What did you think of the ending?
I was shocked. I was surprised, but I also kind of dug it because it makes Jinder look crafty going into the match with Shinsuke, and it gives Baron a lot more motivation and anger and brings more heat into his feud with Cena. So I'm really looking forward to it because I think he may just completely just go nuts and just like cut loose and like destroy John Cena after that. Because Baron Corbin has grown on you and I a lot. I remember that one time you're just like, I stinking love that dude's moveset. Like he has a lot of great moves. His spine buster is on point. Deep Six is a cool move. End of Days is an awesome finisher and stuff like that. And so I think him and Cena is a really interesting feud, and they had a match way earlier in the year on SmackDown, which was pretty good. And so I'm really interested to see these two guys lock horns, so to speak. And I think this adds more intensity and fire to it. And also it kind of takes away the uncertainty of if Shinsuke does win the title, will Baron just it's like, yeah, he has the title, and then Baron just cashes in. So it kind of takes away that fear, sort of, because even though it's like, I think Baron Corbin will make an awesome heel champion, and he deserves it, honestly, because he's done a really good job over the past year. I I just feel like his time isn't quite, his time isn't quite here yet. So it kind of takes away that, like I said, that uncertainty of will he just cash in the second Shinsuke wins it and stuff. But I was shocked, but not necessarily in a bad way. That's my 2 cents on it, anyways. What about you?
Yeah, before I watched the episode, I watched What Just Happened by What Culture, and
Oh, really?
so that kind of like got me not upset. It got me frustrated.
Mm-hmm.
Then I watched all SmackDown. I got to this point, and I'm like, I wonder how it's going to be. And I scrutinized everything that happened. I looked everything that Baron did. I was like fine tooth comb. It was brilliant. I thought, not brilliant, but it was great. The way Baron came in, attacked John Cena because they have a match this weekend. Attacked him with the briefcase, then left. Then realized that Jinder was still in the ring and was like, "I'm gonna go cash it in," not thinking that John Cena would get back up. And so for people, I know that they were very, very like sour on it. I didn't hate it, like you said. I thought it was fine. Like I said, he walks away. Then the way he looks, how he looks when he's going back to the ring, I thought that was fine. And he does have a match with Cena, and he knows who Cena is, and he was watching for Cena to get up, and then he did, and then like you said, Jinder's crafty, and so that throws that in there. Oh, what's going to happen with Shinsuke this week? For me, I thought it was fine. I didn't hate it like everybody else was.
I really didn't.
Fun fact: everybody's been throwing out there that John Cena has been involved in all 3 failed Money in the Bank contracts.
Yeah,
that's fun.
Yeah, that's true, isn't it? Because he became, I think, the first person to unsuccessfully cash in.
Yeah,
I think was the thing.
And then something with Sandow. And then this one.
Now this one.
But there's a rumor backstage, or there's a rumor coming out of backstage. I don't know if it's real or not. So take this with a grain of salt. The rumor is that WWE, their writers and brass and whatnot, are souring on Baron Corbin, giving him a push. And so the rumor coming out of the back, or supposedly coming out of the back, is that because of the verbal confrontation they had a week or 2 ago, because he didn't really hold his own, which I'm going to say this again.
He's basically a rookie.
He is a rookie. Yes, he learned at the Performance Center. John Cena has been doing this for how long? 10 plus years?
15, yeah.
15 years? The dude has gotten the mic skills down to a science. Like he is Rock, he is Hogan, he is Ric Flair, he is all these people wrapped in one. These people, you don't put somebody this green up to a mic. And so to say, oh, they've soured because he didn't have a good mic set against John Cena. It's freaking John Cena. It's John stinking Cena. Come on. You don't put the greenest person up against, I mean, Alexa Bliss may have been able to hold her own. I'll put it that. But she has talent. Baron will have talent. I think he will eventually once he figures out who he is and what he's about. Don't just sour on him because of one negative time.
Yeah.
Just let him go. Let him have his program with Cena. Have Cena help him. I mean, the one thing about Corbin is he needs to keep his mouth shut on Twitter. Most of that, I think, is he's doing it in character. I don't know that he's necessarily like this. He said things to Meltzer that he probably shouldn't have said. Not horrible things, just dumb things. And I think he and somebody else.
Did you see the thing he said where he's like, when I signed with NXT, I blocked you.
Yep.
He goes, but now I'm on the main roster. You're free. I thought that was funny.
Yeah, I thought that was funny too. I saw that, and then this last couple weeks, Meltzer's been saying some negative things about Baron, and Baron's kind of replied, and it's like, Baron, come on, just let it go. It's Dave Meltzer. He's a critic. That's his job. Let him do his job. Get annoyed, but move on. I mean, it's not as big of a heat as Enzo's getting right now, but it's still just cool off, step back.
Yeah.
But anyway, either which way, I feel like the ending was good. It wasn't great, but it was good. It makes sense the way he played it off, going, thinking about it, and then going to the ring like, hey, I got a chance to change down. That was fine. The whole ringing of the bell, I think the announcers picked up on. I don't know if that's going to come into play at all, if he's going to try to get his contract back because of that or whatever, but they played that up. I don't know what happened with that. So those are my thoughts. I thought it was a good ending. It was
Me too.
A weird ending, but something that's like, I want to see how angry Baron Corbin is.
Exactly.
With John Cena, if they play that. If they don't play that, then that whole thing was crap.
Yeah. And I loved the way John Cena was like smirking and grinning at him, just like, haha, I had that match won, you messed it up, so, I messed your chance up. And then I love where he held his hand up like he was holding the briefcase, and then he did that.
Oh, I didn't see that.
You didn't see that?
No.
Cena just had this big grin on his face, and he acted like he was holding up the briefcase, and then he did the "You can't see me" wave in front of the fake briefcase.
Oh, that's funny.
It was pretty good.
Was that when he was by the ring, or was that when he was smiling by the?
It's when he was
person
like
giving the middle finger.
Yeah, it's when he was like by the guardrail going up the ramp,
Okay.
kind of thing. And he
Oh,
was
I
just
did
leaning
see that.
against it. He just like
I did see that. I just
that was
didn't
pretty
pay attention.
funny. Yeah, that was pretty good.
They also blocked that on Hulu, the middle finger
The
girl.
yeah.
Yeah, they blocked that.
Yeah.
They did a really good job blocking it.
What did they just like crop it or something?
Yeah,
or?
like they had, like his face was on one side of the screen,
Mhm.
and you could still see him. Couldn't see any bit of the girl, and then you could see the people next to him. So I don't know if it was a wide angle camera or what. But that's how they did it. They blocked it. They did a really good job.
She's just sitting there.
Middle finger up.
The whole time he's standing there, she's like, wow.
Have you seen his post?
No.
His post is like, if people hate you, you just gotta keep smiling. That's what he was doing. He's smiling in the middle of. As far as pictures go, it's a very poignant picture,
Mm-hmm.
especially for him, especially for the wrestling gig. It's too bad it has to be a middle finger as an iconic picture now.
Yeah. But yeah, that's pretty funny though. He's just like, yeah, just gotta smile. But so SmackDown Live Go Home Show, letter grade.
What would you give it?
What would I give it?
Yep.
I think I'd give it a B plus.
Yep.
I think I'd give it a B plus. Not quite in the A category, but B plus for sure. It's got me, just like Raw, it's got me interested to see SummerSlam. Everything that happened, I really didn't hate, and especially the endings got me even more because it's like, ooh, John Cena. It's gonna be total hell to pay, brother.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, absolutely could be if they play that.
Yeah.
If not, there might be another John Cena win, but we'll see. Yeah, I'd give it a B plus as well. Everything you said, it was a good show, not necessarily great, but a good show.
All right, cool. Well, that was our recaps. Now, folks, we are going to go to the fight cards, and we are going to talk about NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 3.
Hey, it means we're gonna have a Brooklyn 4 next year, so there you go.
Yeah. Brooklyn. Wait, what was the fourth? Search for Spock, and that was.
Fourth was Journey Home. Journey Home?
The Journey Home? Yeah, the one with the whales.
Yeah,
right?
it was one of the whales.
The Journey Home, something like that. Yeah,
The funniest of them.
Yeah.
It's kind of a non-serious.
Almost better than Wrath of Khan.
Yeah, it was a funny movie. Nuclear Vessels.
Yeah, Nuclear Vessels. All right, folks. So we got 5 matches for TakeOver. It'd be really super pumped. I actually am like super pumped for this, and also pumped for SummerSlam, obviously. So, Jeremy, you're the more of the NXT guy, than me. I'm just a casual outside looking in kind of NXT fan. You are the NXT guy, so why don't you take the lead on this one?
All right, we'll leave the top. We're looking off of Wikipedia and what they've got,
Mhm.
and so we're going to leave the first one they have on there to the end because more than likely that's going to be the main event.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Asuka versus Ember Moon. What are your thoughts about the match? My thoughts are that I think Asuka's going to win. If Asuka gets called up, Ember Moon's going to win.
Mm-hmm.
So it just depends. Like, I don't know where they're at.
I think Asuka's ready.
She's been more than ready for this whole year. She came in and ready. I hope they play this off well. You're absolutely right. Asuka needs to be called up. I don't know where they place her because the better of the wrestlers are on SmackDown, or the women's wrestling. The Raw, they could use a shot in the arm, and so Asuka versus Nia might be a good match. Asuka versus Sasha, we haven't seen yet that I remember, that I've seen, and so I don't know how each one of these I don't know how to call because each one of these guys are about ready to be called up. I'm gonna say Ember Moon. What about you?
Yeah, I'm kind of the same boat. I'm just like I don't know. Like they established that the Eclipse, Ember Moon's finisher, just devastated Asuka. Like she did the Eclipse and then Asuka just didn't move in for like ever. Mm-hmm. So they established that it's a dominating move and that it will put Asuka to sleep. So they protected that finisher well because like in their match, what was the last match? Was that before Mania? The last match they had, or was it before the Rumble?
I don't remember if it was Toronto or no, it wasn't Toronto. That was two other something else. I don't remember what it was. It was the one where, the ref got pulled in or she got pulled. I don't remember what.
But like Ember Moon, never did.
Yeah.
Never did the Eclipse in that to kind of protect it and establish that it's an epic finisher. So, but yeah, I want Ember Moon to win because I'm just madly in love with her. Because she's a good wrestler. Not the first thing that was different from what I said. Yeah, I want her to win. I think maybe she will because Asuka's totally ready to come up, and I think Raw would be the better place because SmackDown is pretty set. I think Raw does kind of need a little something extra in terms of the women. Not that the women on Raw aren't good; they're fantastic, but they just need that little something extra. And I think Asuka loses the belt to Ember Moon. Ember Moon has her good reign as NXT Women's Champ, and then Asuka comes up next week hopefully or something epic. So yeah, I think I'm gonna go with more with my heart than my head, but I'm gonna go Ember Moon also.
All right, Authors of Pain with Paul Ellering versus Sanity. Who you got and why?
They've kind of built the Authors of Pain to be like pretty like hardcore dudes. Like they're like pretty so. I'd probably say them honestly. Like I don't know enough about this feud though.
It's been very short.
Very short? Okay, so the Authors of Pain probably will still retain, I'm guessing. But that's just me anyways.
I would like to see Sanity win, especially because Killian Dane is awesome. Alexander Wolf's really good too. Killian Dane's really cool. I think Sanity is getting ready to be called up. Yes. I think Sanity will get called up before Authors of Pain.
New Wyatt family?
Ish. Yeah.
That'd be so cool if they joined the Wyatt family.
I don't like that.
I do.
I don't like that as much as you do.
I do.
I think they need to be on their own stuff. Anyway, I think Authors of Pain will continue because I want to say that they're I think they're gonna be called up shortly after Sanity, and I think there's a couple other guys that are probably gonna have the title soon. Heavy Machinery. I couldn't think of their name for a minute. I think the next feud is going to be Heavy Machinery versus Authors of Pain. Anyway, with all that said, Authors of Pain retains. I believe Sanity will be called up sometime shortly.
Okay.
All right. Aleister Black versus Hideo Itami. Aleister Black.
Yeah, they seem to be pretty high on him right now.
Yeah.
And everybody loves Hideo, so I think he can be all right with a loss here.
And I think a loss will help him snap even more.
Okay.
To make him go down a darker path because Hideo is really, really good. For some reason, people didn't really care or he wasn't really. I thought he was fine as a face, but they didn't really like him as face. So I think they're trying to turn him even more heelish. I think Aleister Black, like you said, because everybody's hyped with him. I think actually Aleister might come up sooner than later. I think Hideo, if they don't turn him right, will be gone from the WWE within the year if they don't turn him right. Anyway, I think Aleister Black. Next we got Johnny Gargano versus Andrade Cien Almas. Gargano.
Yeah, Johnny Wrestling. Don't even have to think about that. It's going to be Johnny Wrestling.
If he doesn't win, it'll be because of Zelina Vega, who used to be called something else. I can't remember what her name was. She's going to be at ringside. I think if Gargano loses, Zelina will get involved in the match, and this feud will continue to be a kind of a filler feud until Ciampa comes back.
Cool.
Which both of these guys need. They need some kind of, Andrade needs somebody he can wrestle and actually have a feud with. This could be a decent feud in the future. And so you have Gargano?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The main event, Bobby Roode versus
Glorious
Drew McIntyre. Who you got?
I don't know. I really like Drew McIntyre. I liked him when he was in WWE the first time. He was very much a Miz, Ric Flair type of bad guy, where he, thought he was the big ladies man, and he was a really cocky, sly heel and stuff like that. So yeah, I like him a lot. I just don't know if he'll win here. I think he might win a rematch, on the next TakeOver or whatever. I think he might win, but I think that Bobby will continue his glorious reign.
I think it will be a disqualification.
Okay.
Because of the things that are going to happen tonight on NXT. Why can I not remember his name? The guy that's kind of been in the middle of this feud. You said his name last week. I can't think of his name right now. Why?
Roderick Strong.
Roderick Strong. Why can I not remember? Roddy. Thank you. I think Roddy Strong will get involved. I think he'll beat up both these guys. I think it'll be a disqualification. Probably Drew will win via disqualification.
Okay.
That's my thought on that. Any other thoughts about NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 3?
No.
Cool.
I don't think so.
All right, let's move to SummerSlam.
All right. So, really pumped for this. 12-match card. Probably be another late night, but
12 hours long.
Yeah.
An hour.
I went back and watched a couple matches from WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm.
They have it all cut down, the main show, and they have all the markers set and stuff in it now. And I went back and I wanted to rewatch the main event, and then I wanted to rewatch the Styles Shane O'Mac match. And I'm just like, wow, 5 hours 21 minutes. I don't know if that's probably the longest pay-per-view on here.
It's long.
And that's not even the pre-show included. It's just the main show. So.
Awesome.
So, we're going to be reading it backwards, upside down, whatever you want to say. We'll leave all the title matches for last, the way we read it, on Wikipedia. And SummerSlam, coming to you live and loud from the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York. All right, so lastly, we have Sheamus and Cesaro Debar versus the Kind of Shield, Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins, for the WWE Raw Tag Team Championships. Jimmy, who wins and why?
Dean and Seth win because Sheamus is getting ready to shoot a film.
Okay. Yeah, I think Dean and Seth will win too. I think they'll have a team up, kind of give them something to do for a while. So, All right. Cool.
All right. I have a different list, so hopefully, is it John Cena versus Baron Corbin?
Yeah, that's the next one.
John Cena versus Baron Corbin. Who you got and why?
I think Corbin will win. I think that, I don't know if they will change this on the day and change it to a no holds barred or an Extreme Rules or something. But I think this will be a pretty brutal match. I think that Baron Corbin is going to be really upset that Cena, screwed him out of the title and that he wasted the Money in the Bank contract. So I think Corbin will win. John Cena has lost at every SummerSlam since 2013.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Lost to Daniel Bryan. He lost to Brock Lesnar. 15, I think he lost to Rusev. And then last year he lost to AJ Styles.
Oh, that's right.
So I think that he's going to put over another guy. I'm pretty sure he lost to Rusev in 2015. If I'm wrong, I'm pretty sure I'll hear about it. I'm pretty sure he lost. I'm almost positive he did. I could be wrong, but he's lost at a lot of SummerSlams is what I'm saying. So I think this will continue that trend. I think Baron Corbin will win. I think it'll be brutal. I think he will put the hurtin' on the face that runs the place.
I think Baron Corbin should win. If things are in the back not as good for Corbin, I think John Cena will win. But I didn't know about the loss, SummerSlam loss for Cena. So
Yeah.
I mean, I think this could go either way. Right now, I'm going to say Baron Corbin because he should win.
Yeah. Okay, so next we have our boy Finn Balor and Bray Wyatt, the Demon King versus the Eater of Worlds. Jeremy, who wins and why?
Finn wins because Demon King. I think Finn always has to win when he's Demon King. That's a quote unquote property that WWE should not squander and should not throw away.
Mm-hmm.
I thought they played a pretty good job doing it right now with the Demon King having him come out, and so Demon King Finn should win. What about you?
Yeah, I think since Bray won on Raw, I think they give him a good win over Finn, a clean win, and so I think that I know a lot of people have a problem with 50-50 booking, but in terms of TV show match versus a pay-per-view match, I don't have a problem with 50-50 booking.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think he's I agree. I think Demon Finn is the unstoppable force. He taps into his dark side and always wins. So when he's the Demon King. So yeah, I think Finn Balor will win.
Unless they do something cool and Bray can somehow grab the Demon King's soul and make him a part of himself, of Bray.
That'd be crazy.
Like, I mean, I'm thinking like way old, uber,
like early 90s Undertaker stuff.
Like crazy stuff that could happen, but again, I think we both think Demon King will win. All right, Big Show versus Big Cass is what I have next.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you got winning and why?
I don't know, and quite frankly, I don't care. It seems as though that with the club, it seems like Gallows and Anderson have teamed up with Big Cass. So,
Seems to be.
That's got me really, really interested. I don't know if they will play a part in this match at all. I'm kind of hoping because that would make it interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know because Big Show. I don't think it was real. I think it was just part of the storyline that he broke his hand.
Yep.
So I think I think he won't be able to do the KO punch because of his hand. So I think that will give it'll kind of even the odds, and I think Big Cass will win.
Yep. I think Big Cass will win either accidentally helping by accidental help from Enzo or purposeful help from Enzo. There's a rumor going around that, and I think it's a bad rumor. I think it's wishful thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Is that they turn Enzo and Cass. This is how they turn Enzo and Cass heel by making Cass the big jerk and making Enzo the guy who helps Cass win type thing. But I think either which way, any way you look at it, I think Big Cass wins. So yeah, he wins.
Okay. Cool. So now we have the New Day, which will be Big E and Xavier Woods with Kofi in the corner. Kofi in the corner, that sounds fun. Kofi in the corner.
Nobody puts Kofi in the corner.
Exactly. So we got Big E and Xavier Woods versus the Usos for the WWE SmackDown Tag Team Championships. Jeremy, who wins and why?
New Day! Because that's what needs to happen. New Day needs to keep it. I mean, they can go back and forth, and so if Usos win them, they'll have another match.
Yeah.
At their next pay-per-view, and New Day will win it back. So I think New Day wins.
Okay. I think New Day probably will too, but honestly, I don't care who does because I like both these teams. I like what both of them are doing currently, and I think either way, I think this match will be really good because the last three they've had actually
Yeah.
were pretty good. So
Yep.
that's what I think.
Agreed. It'll be a great match all together. All right, the next one I have on my list is Randy Orton versus Rusev. Who you got and win? Who you got and win? Who you got and why?
Who you got and win?
Who you got and win?
This one is actually probably the hardest one for me to pick because I don't know, because both of these guys need to win, and I don't know. I don't know, man. I feel like they're both owed one because I thought that Cena totally, didn't have to win the flag match, and I thought that, Randy Orton's lost in 3 or 4 straight pay-per-view matches against Jinder. So, I don't know, man. I want Randy to win just because he's the good guy and he's one of my favorites. But if Rusev wins, he needs wins too. And but I mean, he's the bad guy. The bad guys need to lose sometimes. It's just really hard for me to pick. So I'm just gonna go ahead and I'm gonna say Randy.
I think Randy too. But if SmackDown this past week is an indicator that Randy got the last laugh, if you will, that might mean that Rusev wins. But I think Randy wins. Rusev needs it more.
Okay. So we have the phenomenal one, or the untouchable one, as he is now going by. United States champion, greatest wrestler ever, AJ Styles, versus the former face of America, Kevin Owens, for the U.S. Championship with Shane O'Mac as the guest referee. Jeremy, who wins? Why?
I want and think AJ Styles will win. But this is also a hard match to call because now they got Shane involved, and Shane may not call for interference. Like, he might get hurt and then get up and punch somebody. Either one. I'm really interested in seeing what Shane does, if he does anything. I think AJ keeps it. I don't think this feud is over quite yet. If it is, then Kevin Owens will hit Shane. That will be the next feud. AJ Styles will move on with the championship. Okay. What do you think?
I think AJ will keep it too. I think Shane will get involved in some capacity. Like, I think KO will probably accidentally hit him or something, and instead of calling for a DQ, he'll just punch KO or something like that. I don't know. Something akin to that. Yep. I think will happen. So.
All right. Akira Tozawa versus Neville for the Cruiserweight title. Who you got and why?
Neville is going to destroy Tozawa and take his title back.
Agreed.
All right, that was quick.
Yep.
So we've got Jinder Mahal, Maharaja, with the Singh brothers in his corner, versus Shinsuke Nakamura for the WWE Championship. Jeremy, who wins and why?
Well, there's a rumor going around, and kind of started by Jinder. Good grief. Started by Jinder that there is an India tour coming up. So I think Jinder's going to win because I think he's going to keep the belt if there's an India tour coming up. They could have him keep it, or they could have him lose it and then win it back another time. But I think Jinder's going to win. Okay. What about you?
I honestly believe and sincerely hope Shinsuke will win, and then he will hold the belt all the way to and through WrestleMania 34.
Oh wow!
Yes,
it's a bold prediction.
It is very bold. Hey, that's what I like to do sometimes on the podcast when we talk about predictions. I like to go bold, man. Got to risk it to get the biscuit.
Right on.
All right, next one.
I have Alexa Bliss versus Sasha Banks.
Yep.
Who do you got and why?
The
Raw Women's Champion.
I think Alexa wins. She's doing a fantastic job as the champion on Raw. I like Sasha, but I just don't think that she's that interesting as a champion right now. Um, I I think there will be some kind of trickery though. I think the ref might get taken out or something, and Nia will help Bliss retain. Possibly. Not making any for sure guesses, but I think something like that could happen. So,
Yeah, I think Alexa Bliss is going to win. I think she needs to keep the title to make it an important title. I think that I think I don't put too much stock in Bailey being hurt.
oh really?
Like I don't know that I don't. Part of me doesn't believe it. If she isn't hurt, I believe she's going to turn on Sasha.
Okay.
I believe she's going to turn heel. If she is hurt, I think Alexa's going to win because of Nia Jax.
Okay.
So I don't. Part of me, but we're probably both wrong. It's probably going to be Sasha because of WWE craziness.
Yeah.
So I think Alexa should win. Anyway, that's me.
Okay. So now we have Naomi versus Natalya in a match for the SmackDown Women's Championship. Jeremy, who do you have and why?
Naomi wins. Carmella cashes in.
Okay.
That's who I have.
That's what you got. Okay. I think Carmella will cash in regardless of who wins. I think Naomi is awesome. She's one of my favorites in the women. She did a great job. She's had a good run as champ, man. Really enjoyed it. I think that Naomi is she's had a great reign. She's a good champ. I love her. She's awesome. But I think that it's I think that since Carmella is the women Money in the Bank holder, I think that would be a good opportunity to change the title and not have it hurt Naomi's credibility or her reign by having, her beat Natalya, and then, she's all worn out and beat up and stuff like that, and then, Carmella cashes in. So, yeah, I think Carmella will cash in. I agree with you there. As to who will win, I'm kind of 50-50.
Yep.
Who will win the match, but yeah, I agree. I think Carmella will cash in. So, all right. Now we move on to what is probably the main event.
Yeah.
What I think would be the awesomest note to go out on.
Yep. The Fatal 4-Way: Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns versus Samoa Joe versus Braun Strowman. Who you got and why?
I honestly do not know. I mean,
neither does anybody else.
Yeah.
Neither does anybody else.
Like, okay, if Roman Reigns wins, everybody's gonna hate it. If Braun Strowman wins, I don't know where they go from there. If Samoa Joe wins, that's best case scenario. If Brock Lesnar wins, I don't know where they go from there either. Because, I just don't know. It's all four of these guys, because there are rumors that Brock wants to be done with WWE. He wants to go back to, MMA. And so I don't know if this will be his exit, or, if this is his exit strategy, or if they're going to set up a retirement angle at Mania with him and Roman, or him and Finn, or him and Samoa Joe, or something. I honestly don't know. It's just tough. It's tough for me to say. I think, now, it's Fatal 4-Way, so anything goes. Triple threat, Fatal 4, anything other than that. There's no DQ, anything goes. So I think this match will get pretty creative and there'll be some high spots and stuff. But man, I think Samoa Joe should be the next Universal Champion. I think that'd be awesome. But I honestly don't think Brock is leaving just yet, because I think he's still under contract for a little longer.
Until April of next year.
Yeah. So, and then WrestleMania is like April 1st or April 2nd of next year. So, yeah, I don't think this will be Brock Lesnar's exit. I think he will probably retain, or if he loses the title because, Samoa Joe pins Roman Reigns after Braun Strowman does the power slam and then he knocks Braun Strowman out of the ring or something. I think that Brock will disappear for a while, but he'll return. Something. Like, I don't know. That's my thoughts. I think Brock Lesnar will probably keep it because for a little bit longer, I think. I don't know. I honestly don't know. All right, I'll let you say your piece now.
My right mind says Brock Lesnar wins. Brock, like was already said, his contract isn't over until April next year. There's no way he could fight John Jones in any time soon.
Yeah.
I think that the earliest he could fight is like mid next year. So after his contract is up, and so any speculation that Paul Heyman put on last week or this past week's Raw was just swerve.
Mm-hmm.
He can't go anywhere. He can't fight anywhere unless he fights for like Bellator or something. But I don't think he can fight even with Bellator. When I think about it.
Yeah, I think he can prepare for a fight. He can train and get in shape for the fight, but he can't actually fight.
And I can't remember if that's November or what, but it's still it's not up anytime soon. And so it's too early for him to leave WWE.
Yeah, that's what I think.
So my right mind says Brock Lesnar wins. My other side says that this is going to be a double pin situation.
Oh.
Brock will pin Samoa Joe, and Braun will pin Roman Reigns. Why do I say that? If they continue the whole Roman Reigns Universal Champion WrestleMania thing, that would give a perfect way to do that. If Braun faces Roman or pins Roman, and they do a double thing where they think both people win, it would continue that, and it would continue the whole Universal title thing, and it would spin off into the two things I think is going to happen. I think it'll be Braun and Brock will be their feud. I think they'll wrestle the next pay-per-view. Because I think Brock's actually scheduled for that one. Again, I can't remember which one it is. And then Samoa Joe, Roman Reigns, which I think will be a great feud.
I think that'd be sweet. I think that'd be epic.
Even though I've enjoyed Braun and Roman, I think Samoa Joe and Roman will be a really, really good feud.
Yeah.
Brock and Braun will just be a heavy hitter.
Talk about a slobber knocker. Yeah. Like, you need to bring JR back for those.
Yeah. Either way, I think that'll be a crazy, crazy fight. So I think, like I said, my right mind, my logical mind, Brock wins. My other conspiracy theory point of contention is that it'll be a double count.
I didn't think about that, man. Like, I hope that's what happens too, so that way we birth two feuds.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can't believe I didn't think of that. That's a brilliant idea, man.
Yep. WWE, call me.
Exactly. We got a lot of great ideas. Another great idea I had, just really quick. It came to me last night, and I was almost asleep, and then it popped into my head, and I couldn't go to sleep because I was super excited because I wanted it to happen. Roman Reigns turns heel. And, well, we don't know he turns heel yet, right?
Mm-hmm.
Out of nowhere, like, Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose are in the ring. They win the titles. This is like, this in theory would be like, a month or two away. They have the titles. They're talking. There's no tag team that could defeat us. The lights cut out. And all of a sudden you just hear Michael Cole like, what's going on? And then you just see flashes of stuff. And then the lights come up. They're down. Decimated. And you see the Authors of Pain standing up. With their masks and everything. They take off their masks. Roman's music hits. He runs to the ring. He stares him down, walks over, stands shoulder to shoulder with him, puts his hand out, and then Akam and Razor put their hands in with his.
That'd be pretty rad.
And I was just like that just popped into my head. I was like, that would be so epic. The Empire of Pain. Like,
man,
that would be
that's a great name for it too.
That would be so epic to have, because everybody, just like with Cena and just like with every other person who they're upset with, the WWE Universe is like, well, just turn him heel. Just turn him heel. And it's just like, I think a Roman heel turn would be awesome, but they just have to do they just have to do it right. And I know we've talked about, like, where we talked about, like, top 10 or whatever, just any number we had of, stables that we would like to see formed. And I'm just like, and I always thought that, Killer Samoans or whatever with, Usos and Roman would be cool. But then this idea just came to me last night out of nowhere, and I was just like, yeah, screw all the other things I said. Like, this is the only stable I want. The Empire of Pain, and Roman just becomes this monster heel. It's like, they hold the tag team titles, then he holds the Universal title, and so they just
Crazy.
Raw is truly Roman's yard.
Yeah.
Like, that would be pretty sick. Like, I think that would be cool.
That would be.
So, well, that was the predictions. Now we will give you our lists of top 5 most hated wrestlers. Jeremy, what were the prerequisites, the things that we set forward for the lists of wrestlers we hated? What were the things we took into account?
Did the person playing the character do his job well?
Mm-hmm.
His or her job well, I should say. Were they a bad character and just you hated them? What else did we say?
Backstage politicking.
Oh yeah,
Backstage heat.
Yep.
And just overall douchiness in real life. Yep. So, lots of things to consider in these lists. I'll go ahead and kick it off, if you don't mind. So, all right. First wrestler I have, number 5, going down, working towards number 1, is a guy who at one point was a really good wrestler and put on really good matches and who I did not mind. But then when he came back, he had put on some good matches still, but then over time morphed into a one-note, boring performer. I'm of course talking about Brock Lesnar.
Mm-hmm.
Brock Lesnar, it's just like by all accounts, doesn't seem like a bad guy. A little rough around the edges, sure. But, in the Austin podcast that he did, 2 years ago or whatever, he just seemed like a simple guy, just, talking about all kinds of stuff. And, he's saying that he actually is really good friends with Triple H, and he is really good friends with, Rock, and he is really good friends with Stone Cold. And Kurt Angle, him and Kurt Angle are, best buds. And so, that kind of helped my image of him a little. But after that boring and just stupid match between him and Dean Ambrose last year at Mania, and then the SummerSlam match between him and Randy Orton, which I got super psyched for, and then it was just him no-selling Randy's offense and then just busting him open for real, which was scripted, but still, come on.
Yeah.
Come on. And, the whole, and, growing up a Goldberg fan, the whole storyline with him and Goldberg over the past year, it was good to see Goldberg get under his skin and beat him and put him in his place. And I didn't mind Brock Lesnar beating him at Mania and all that stuff. I figured that was what was going to happen and stuff. But Brock Lesnar just at one point was a really good wrestler who I didn't mind. And then just over time, when he came back, he just morphed into a one-note performer. I'm just going to suplex all the time. And I get it, Suplex City, everybody pops for it. But the dude used to put on great matches. And, he used to do more than that. And so it just kind of sucks to see him just kind of become lazy with his wrestling. And it also bugs me that he's, doesn't have to, adhere to any of the policies and rules that anybody else pretty much does. So
That's just a good manager who set that.
I guess so. Maybe Heyman really did manage that.
So that's your number 5?
Mm-hmm.
All right, my number 5, I don't really have a reason, I'll be honest.
Yeah.
I just hated him. I hated everything about him. He was bland. Actually, this says, no, it comes to mind more wrestlers as I say bland. Look at you, Lance Storm. Sorry, I didn't mean that. Don't kill me. Steve Blackman.
Oh.
I didn't get him. I didn't really care for him. Kendo stick. Okay, great, wonderful. Hated him. I had no real reason. Just I thought he was bland and just over. They liked him. People liked him more than they should have. And so that's why I hate him. I just don't think it was good.
All right. Now moving on to number 4. My number 4 was also bland. He was a terrible in-ring performer. He had hardly any charisma. I just didn't like anything about him. It's Lex Luger.
Oh man, yeah.
Never liked him. Still don't. By all accounts, he's a huge jerk. And like on Ric Flair's podcast, which sadly isn't around anymore. It ended in like February. He would tell about how much Lex Luger annoyed him and Eric Bischoff and Hogan and Sting. Even though him and Sting were always friends, Sting got annoyed with him because he would talk in the third person.
Yeah, they were business partners. I mean, they were in real life business partners, and Sting couldn't stand it.
Yeah, that's funny. I mean, because like Ric Flair tells a story of how he would just be like, he would go up to Bischoff or Vince Russo, and Vince Russo, top 5 most hated non-wrestlers in wrestling, Vince Russo is pretty near the top for me. I hate that guy. And I don't care if he knows it. Flair was saying how like he would talk in the third person and stuff like that, and he would think that like he should win all the time and stuff like that, and he would just be like, whoa Eric, why should a Lex Luger lose to a Dutch Mantel, huh? Why would Lex Luger wrestle Dutch Mantel in the first place? And just stuff like that, along with all the other stuff. Like, I'm no big fan of Eric Bischoff. The dude did his job well, but I mean, he was kind of, him and Hogan became best buds, and he just placated to Hogan's ego a lot in WCW. Even he couldn't stand Lex Luger. So yeah, just not a good worker. The dude just wasn't a good wrestler. His personality was bland. He was Hulk Hogan, but with half of the in ring working and like none of the charisma. So yeah, number 4 is Lex Luger.
Yeah, he should have been on my list too. You're absolutely right. I guess Steve Blackman kind of stands in for Lex Luger. All the Lex Lugers of the world, just bland and nothing. Just he was big for some reason. Anyway, my number 4 is Kevin Sullivan. Kevin, I liked you for the longest time, and then I went back to watch you in WCW, and what in the world? I don't like you. Enough said. I just don't like you. Anyway, that's my number 4, Kevin Sullivan.
Kevin Sullivan. Oh, okay, nice. Yeah, you just made the list. All right, my number 3 is a wrestler who in ring and on the stick was good, but was overrated to the nth degree. I'm gonna catch a lot of heat for this, and I don't care.
Is it Shawn Michaels?
No, it's not. I would never say anything bad about
I'm just kidding.
Shawn Michaels. As he stands now. Back in the day, even by his own admission, he was just a total jerk. But just overrated to the nth degree. Everybody loved him. I never cared for him like at all. He did put on good matches, but he was super overrated. He was awesome on the mic. Everybody just loved him. I just loved him beyond logic. The dude was a jerk. He was an egomaniac, but nobody talks about that. Nobody talks about him being a massive egomaniac and basically becoming a mark for himself. I'm talking, of course, about CM Punk, the man whose chants will never die. Those chants,
especially Chicago.
It's like, we get it. He's from Chicago, but he's not here anymore, and he's probably never coming back, and you're just gonna have to deal with that.
Yep.
Yes, him and WWE both were at fault for everything that happened, and he agrees that he was not the easiest guy in the world to deal with. But it's like, just everything about him, like he just always acted entitled. He always acted like he just seemed like he had a martyr complex. Like he wanted stuff to complain about. He wanted a hill to die on, and it's just, and like the way he just backstabs and talks bad about everybody all the time and stuff, and he just totally thought that he would, I don't know. I just never liked CM Punk. Just like personally, Phil Brooks, the guy who plays CM Punk, and just the wrestler CM Punk, I just never liked ever. So that was my number 3.
My number 3 is the Iron Sheik.
Ooh.
Inside and outside of the ring, you had to hate the dude. Dude is something else. He played his character well, and it goes back to the whole xenophobia. Back in the 80s, it was prevalent and clapped upon and all that stuff. And so he did a great job making you hate him.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, he's a little interesting in real life. So, for all that, Iron Sheik is my number 3.
Yeah. Dude, back in the 70s and 80s, the dude had a coke problem.
Yeah.
Allegedly. Now, my number 2 used to be my number 1, but because of the things he's done as a businessman and as a person, he's grown on me a little more, and I've been able to step outside my marquee self and see how good he was at the job he did. I am, of course, talking about the King of Kings, the cerebral assassin, Triple H. I always hated Triple H. In hindsight, the dude did his job well, but also a lot of backstage politicking. Him and Shawn Michaels tried to kill a lot of people's pushes and tried to politic their way into the main event all the time. It seems like he's matured. He's willing to put guys over and move on, you know. And he really, and he's a really good businessman now. And because of all that, because of him, putting over Roman last year and putting over Seth this year, and growing more, growing and maturing and as myself and seeing stuff, that moves him up from number 1 to number 2. Just with him, it was just because of all the backstage stuff and because he won a lot of matches he should not have. He refused to put over Goldberg, and then finally he did. He, there was tons of guys that he was going to put over, but he just didn't, and then he just refused to. And I think Blampier had said it was in 2002 to 2004 was Triple H's nobody wins but me phase, and he's not wrong. He's not wrong at all. And so that coupled with the fact that he was he did a good job playing a bad guy, and because he just has such a punchable face, that's why I hated him. And that's why he is my number 2 most hated wrestler of all time.
My number 2 most hated wrestler of all time is the man himself, Vince McMahon.
Oh.
I don't know if I have to say anymore. The dude, his character.
Yeah.
He probably should be number 1 because of all the things you said about Triple H, because he's my number 1. Triple H is my number 1. Vince McMahon, his character was so evil.
Yeah.
And he owns the company. And he can do whatever he wants. And it's hurting It's hurting at least his product. Not hurting wrestling in global, but it's hurting his product. He just, as a wrestler, he was just evil. He was just plain evil. And so, even though he should be number 1, the reason my number 1 is Triple H. I'll just go ahead and go into that.
Okay.
Since I was talking about it. The reason why Triple H is number 1 is because that was my formative years of wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
I watched wrestling all the time, and he, outside of the politicking, which I didn't know much later in life existed.
Yeah, me neither.
He played his character perfectly, and he still does. Everything he did, I just couldn't stand. Like you said, he had the most punchable face ever.
Mm-hmm.
You just wanted to strangle a guy because that's the mark of a good heel. You want to hate them. Unlike some of the people on our list, you hate Lex Luger because he's a horrible wrestler and stuff like that. But you hate Triple H and you hate Vince McMahon because their personas on screen were on point.
Mm-hmm.
They were perfect heels. And so that's the reason why both of those two are on the top of my list, is because they played the role perfectly. And in order to be the best heel, that's what you need to do. I didn't hate I didn't hate Ric Flair because I loved the concept of the Four Horsemen.
Mm-hmm.
And by all intents and purposes, I should hate Ric Flair. But Triple H made me hate him. He made me hate Vince McMahon. Made me hate him, and so on and so forth. And so those two are on my most hated wrestlers of all time. What's your number 1, Caleb?
My number one is a man who needs no introduction, but I'm going to give him one anyway. You know, like I've been saying, backstage politicking, lying, just straight up lying, backstabbing, terrible, seems at his heart like not a good, maybe just not a good guy. Lots of done terrible things. Just backstabbed a lot of people in the biz. Refused to put people over. Just always fought for his own ego. And I think you know who I'm talking about. The immortal whiteness of being, Hulk Hogan. Never a Hulk Hogan guy. I liked Macho Man.
Yep.
I liked Brett. I liked Shawn.
Yep.
Never a Hogan guy. When Sting came back and beat him in the NWO, and he did a good job in the NWO. Hogan is important to the history of wrestling.
Yep.
He was super charismatic in the ring. He was not that great of a wrestler in the ring. He was slow. He was boring. He just refused to put people over for the longest time. And then when Vince made him put over Ultimate Warrior back in 1990 at WrestleMania, he just said that he regretted that and that he never wanted to do that and stuff. And he just rubbed everybody the wrong way. He just, he just politicked all the time. And just hearing all of these things coming out, because it was like, I never hated him, but I just wasn't a fan by any means at all. But then hearing about all the things over the past, 10 years, that he's done, things that have happened in and out of the ring, in and out of the wrestling biz, it's just like, man, I hate Hulk Hogan. But it's funny because one of my dream matches is Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Hulk Hogan, and that's a dream match a lot of people have, and it's one that almost happened. But it didn't happen because he refused to lose to Stone Cold. Okay? If anybody out there is the What Culture guy, you probably know a lot of this. They've covered a lot of stuff about Hogan. They did a whole list about 10 people he refused to lose to. 2005, 2002, WrestleMania 18, one of my all-time favorite matches is The Rock versus Hollywood Hogan. And they had to fight tooth and nail to get him to lay down for Rock, and he finally did. And then that was part of the reason why he didn't want to lay down for Stone Cold, was because he's like, I already did the job to Rock, so why do I have to job out to Stone Cold too? And then, in 2005, we all know the infamous incident with him and Shawn Michaels, where they were going to have a trilogy of matches where they each get a win, and then they would decide who would win. But he's like, no, I can only do one match, turn Michaels heel, and I'll do it. That just rubbed me the wrong way. Didn't like that. So that made him a big jerk. And so then Shawn Michaels hilariously, and to his credit, admitted it was unprofessional. But he had a good reason for doing it. He was upset that they, and then 2006 SummerSlam, him and Randy Orton was the legend killer at this point, and Hulk Hogan, that's the ultimate legend. He's gonna kill Hulk Hogan. They're just like, yeah, will you lose to Randy Orton? He goes, no. Well, he's the legend killer. This could do wonders for him. He's doing all this momentum. Just came off an awesome feud with The Undertaker, which is one of my all-time favorite feuds, is Legend Killer Randy Orton and Undertaker. Refused to lose to Legend Killer Randy Orton. That just always, bothered me too. And just all these things we keep hearing about him. From back in WCW, how he was just mad with power. Because him and Bischoff became best buds, and so Bischoff just placated to his ego, and then him and Vince were like that in the late '80s, too, and in the early '90s, because it was just because even if he wasn't the champion, he was still in the main event match, even if he wasn't the champion, and most of the time the championship match was way better than his main event match. So yeah. And even back to 93, or was it the 92 Rumble, I meant, Ric Flair wins the title in the Rumble match. That year, WrestleMania, I think it was maybe 8, in '92, the main event was going to be Ric Flair versus Hulk Hogan. That would have blown everybody's mind. It was going to be a big money match, and Hogan refused to lose to Ric Flair, and so then they decided to scrap it because they're like, well, I mean, you don't really. This is his first first time being WWF champion, first time main eventing WrestleMania, first time being at WrestleMania ever, and you're just not gonna do that. That's just petty. And so yeah, all the reasons I just said is why Hulk Hogan is my number one most hated wrestler ever.
Yeah, he's on a lot of people's list. I know he's on mine mostly because I don't hate him as much as everybody else does. I do agree with everything. Like the backstage politicking was just, he was the king of it. It makes me want to actually, because looking back, you're like, why did we like Hulk Hogan? What was it about him that we were like, yeah, I'm gonna get on his page as little kids?
Mm-hmm.
It makes me want to show a match or show one of his promos to my kids to be like, all right, what do you think about this? To see if there's anything, get some feedback. So I might do that one day and let you guys know.
That'll be very interesting to see. Yeah, that'd be really.
They'll probably be bored, but
probably.
one of his promos, like if I find a really good promo that he's done, they might enjoy it.
Yeah.
But.
And like I say, he had tremendous charisma.
He did.
And.
Still does.
And still does, yeah. And I recognize that he as much as I hate him, he is on the Rushmore of wrestling. Mm-hmm. As much as I hate it, he is. And I respect the legacy that because he helped pave the golden age of wrestling. But with that being said, I can respect, his place in the wrestling history, but also completely dislike everything about him. Besides, the whole NWO versus Sting storyline and the WrestleMania 18 match with The Rock, there's not much positive I'm willing to say about Hulk Hogan.
He had some iconic moments in the history of wrestling. I mean, without him, we wouldn't have all the people that we have. Yeah. We wouldn't have The Rock. We wouldn't have Stone Cold. We wouldn't have Triple H. I know they probably wouldn't admit it, but that's the truth. We wouldn't have these guys, especially the guys we look up today, watching his promos to see how good he did. I believe he believed everything he said.
Yeah.
At least in that moment, he did. And that's what makes a good promo really, really good, is that you believe everything you say, or at least you make yourself believe everything you say. Anyway, we've said a lot about Hulk Hogan. We're not trying to disparage you, but
yeah.
Come on, man.
We got to tell it like it is. It quacks like a duck.
Yep.
All right. So that was the Go Home podcast for SummerSlam. We will see you guys next week, or whenever we decide to do it.
Or whenever SummerSlam is over.
Yeah, whenever SummerSlam.
It may be a whole week by the time
they may have to space out the matches, do 2 a night or something.
Yeah.
Because it might be super long. So, folks, thanks for stopping by. We will see you for our reactions video for the SummerSlam. Yeah, thanks for listening. What's up, Ryan? And we will see you guys next time.
Peace.